So what power level are you really getting from a typical 5-watt handy talkie? Let's take a look. Hi, and welcome to the Gadget Talk channel, where we do reviews and how-tos on a variety of fun gadgets, including audio and video tools, action cameras, and, as in this case, radio transceivers. If you find this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. I really appreciate it. This video is going to be a bit different than a typical product review video. In this case, we'll be looking at several popular ham and GMRS handy talkies to see what their power output really is. We'll be using an MFJ 874 SWR power meter connected to a 60-watt dummy load for the tests. Most manufacturers give themselves an out in their advertising by saying something like up to 5 watts power. That kind of statement gives you, as the buyer, the opportunity to see and hear 5 watts without them actually saying that's what you get. So, what can you expect from these handy little transceivers? Well, let's take a look. In this test, we're going to look at 6 ham band radios and 3 GMRS radios. The radios varied in price from about $25 to just over $200. These include such brands as Anytone, Baofeng, ICOM, Radiodity, Ocean, and Yaesu. So here's a spoiler alert. Only one came close to the advertised max power. As I mentioned before, I tested each radio connecting it to an antenna output directly to the MFJ 874 with a connected dummy load, so little or no RF was actually broadcast. I recorded each radio results on both high and low power. A couple of the radios had more than those two outputs, and those are shown. I'll label the clips as to the radio tested and the power level being tested. I have some summary slides following the clips to help summarize the findings. Let's start with the clips. Okay, in this test we're going to be using the Anytone D878, and we'll see what this looks like. This has got a couple of different power settings, and we'll try each of them. We'll start with low. Looks like it's about 1/10 of a watt. Medium power. Looks like about 2.3. High power is next. About 4.1. We'll change that since it might go above 5. So we'll go down to the second arc, and we've got the settings at the 20 watt index. Yeah, it's up to about 7 on turbo. So now let's look at the UHF band. And again, let's we'll start with low. Again, just a little less than 1/10 of a watt. Here's medium. Right about 2.1. Here we go with high. About 3.8. And again, we'll change the band or the index here on this, and we'll go to turbo. About 6.1. Okay, now we've got the Baofeng UV5REX radio. We've got that here. This is the power setting. We've got it set to the VHF frequency band. We'll see what we get here. VHF in high. 3.5. So now we'll go with high with the UHF band and see how we do here. Again, this is rated at 5 watts. About 3.1. So this is the UHF band on low power. About 1.8. So this is VHF. It's about 0.6. Okay, in this reading we're going to be dealing with another Baofeng radio. This is an older radio. It's the Baofeng F8HP, which supposedly broadcasts up to 8 watts. So we'll change the dial, and so we'll be looking at the second arc from the bottom, as we'll be on the 20 watt scale. So let's take a look. This is VHF and high power. Looks at about 6.7. UHF on high. We'll take a look at that now. Again, the second scale. About 5.9. So for whatever reason, the F8HP, older firmware, I haven't done any updates to it, and I haven't tried to make the changes in the programming software like Chirp, for example. This one seems to be stuck at high. So that's interesting. So for this test, we'll be using the ICOM radio. It's another more expensive radio. It's a D-Star radio, the D31A. So let's take a look. This is in the UHF band. It's a single band radio, and it's in what it's called the Super Low setting. So on Super Low, this is the rating. Looks to be about a 0.05 watt. Let's go up to the mid-range here. There are 3 low ratings on this radio, so I skipped over 2 of the low ones. This is medium. (2.1). And then this is the high. About 3.8. So this measurement is for the RD5R, a little Baofeng DMR radio. It's on the UHF setting with low power. So let's take a look at what we get. About 2.1 watts with low power. So here we are on low power in the VHF band. We'll see what we get. About 1.3, 1.4. Let's change this up to high power. So here we have the RD5R on VHF High. We got the radio set here. You can see the H right there. So let's try high power VHF. It's about 3.2 watts. So now we've got UHF, the high power indicator. Let's see what that looks like. About 3.8. So that's the RD5R. So in this test, we're going to be taking a look at a little bit different radio. This is one of the Yaesu radios, a little bit more expensive, the FT70D. Right now, we've got this set on low power on the VHF. It's about 0.3 of a watt on low. So here we are on the 70 centimeter band. Again, we're at the bottom arc. So it's about 0.27 watts. So here's the FT70D with the mid power setting in the VHF range. Right at 2. And here it is, the VHF range on high. About 3.6. The FT70D UHF low. About 0.27. Here's the midpoint, or the mid power setting. About 1.8. UHF High, about 3.1. Now this GMRS radio is the Baofeng UV5X right here. Again, we'll be using channel 7 as a high power channel and then channel 8 for the low power setting, as these power settings are locked for the GMRS kind of radios. Again, we'll be looking at the lower arc of the power meters. Looks like about 2.4 on high. We'll go up one channel to channel 8. Now it's low power. And it's about 0.3 on low power. Okay, this test is another little GMRS radio. It's the GM30 from Radioddity. Again, we'll be using channel 7 for high and channel 8 for low. So here we go with the high setting on channel 7. We'll see what we get. About 3.2 watts. Channel 8 is low power, and here comes that. Okay, in this test we're going to be using the Ocean KG805G. On channel 7, that's high. So the 805G in the UHF band on high rates right at 3.0. Now we'll go up 2 channels to channel 9, which is in that band of GMRS channels with the low rating. So let's take a look and see what we have here. Got about 0.1. Now let's go through what you just saw in chart form. We'll look at a summary chart and then briefly go through each radio's test's results. As the video is starting to get a little long, I think what I'll do here is just kind of go through these slides rather slowly and let you take a look at them without my commenting on them. Feel free to stop the video or scroll back and forth to see the particular results for the radios that you're interested in. So my takeaway on all this is that even with the more expensive Japanese radios from ICOM and Yaesu, you can expect to get just above 3 watts of power out of your radio on the high setting. That seemed pretty consistent across the brands and across a couple of years since I've purchased some of these radios. Low power settings were pretty close for most of the sampled radios. The winner in terms of output matching advertising claims was the Anytone D878. Its measured output was, depending on the setting, either right on or only slightly lower than claimed, with the exception of the low setting. So, there you have it. I hope you found this comparison both helpful and interesting. Power is not the be-all, end-all for measurements. In fact, one of the tenets of ham radio is to use the least amount of power required to accomplish the desired task. I've used these radios in a variety of settings and found them to be effective. Again, if you found this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Click the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Feel free to leave a comment if you've gotten different results. Thanks for watching, and 73.